triathlon and doing some things that were a little healthier than the other choices that I was making, and finally started my life on a different path of healthy, good choices. But I had people pouring into me, helping me see my worth. I have a good friend who always says this. She's a psychologist, and she says, every single one of us received a pound of worth at birth. We're the only ones who can give it away. And the sad thing is we do. And when people live in poverty, and they live in those situations, they don't know any different. They already gave it away. They have to find it. They have to find it. So I want to share with you, whoops, that's not what I do here. Sorry if I messed this up here. Let me see, how do I get out of that? I just did. There we go, okay. Okay.
She lives in a world she can barely see, but she's doing something that few could ever dream and inspiring people all over the country. So how strong do you have to be to change the world? As ABC Steve Osunsami shows, America strong.
Welcome to the Track and Field Championship.
When Charlotte Brown runs down her lane with her pink pole vault and leaps into the sky, you hold your breath. She's just 15 years old and she's learned to fly. But what's most amazing is she can't see.
I really can't make out the blur even. It really just doesn't. It really just blends in for me.
She can't see the track or the fancy color of her pole vault or the faces of the people in the stands. She's legally blind.
So you have no idea, what I really look like.
Right.
Doctors don't know why, but she started losing her sight when she was just 16 weeks old. Several surgeries later, none of it helped. She took to the pole vault like a champion. But how in the world does someone who's blind do so well at something that's challenging for anyone? This is what pole vaulting looks like to a sighted person, but this is what it looks like to Charlotte. She says it's like looking down the inside of a little black straw and seeing a blurry light at the end. So she has a system. Her coach lays artificial turf next to her lane. She can see the difference between light and dark, and it helps her run straight. 1, 2, 3. She counts her steps and then goes for it. And now get this, she's not just any pole vaulter, she's the best her high school has ever seen, and one of the best in the entire country, clearing 11 feet and 6 inches.
When a kid comes in and talks to me about what they can't do, I just point to the picture of Charlotte up there and say, you tell her that.
It's not just her coaches who think the world of her, there are her parents.
Don't ever say she can't do something, because if you do, she'll figure it out.
And the letters that come from blind and visually impaired children around the world.
Dear Charlotte, just wanted to say I read a story about you and it was awesome.
Today she's losing what little vision she has. It's getting worse, but she's not worried. She says an obstacle is just that. It can be moved, it can be jumped over.
This story isn't about me. It's about all people that struggle with something. I think everyone struggles with something in life. This was my something. This is not the worst thing that could ever happen. This isn't even a bad thing that could happen. This just makes you a stronger person.
Steve Osunsami, ABC News, Emory, Texas.
Holy smokes. I think people who pole vault are crazy. I don't know if anybody's been to the pole vault in the mall. Is anybody even out there? It's crazy. And she's blind, for God's sake. She runs with an 18-foot pole down the lane and sticks it in a hole like this big to catapult her body upside down to go over another pole. That's freaking nuts. I didn't even know who dreamed it up, let alone try to do it while you're blind. The human spirit is amazing. And we're limited by what we think. We're not limited by our heart, which is often what's broken. We're limited by our mind. We're limited by our ability to see a different view of the world. All of us are limited in that way. So how do we get out of that space? I have 3 things that I return to, I want to share with you, to kind of get into this space of worthiness, if you will, knowing that our lives make a difference, not just to us, but others. Because this life is not about what we achieve. It's not about the medals that we win, the honors that we receive. It's not about that stuff. We're not taking that stuff with us. It's about the people we touch in life. It's about the people we touch in life. So there are three things. And the first thing is gratitude. Gratitude. My sister, one of my soulmates in life, came up with something called the Gralphabet. Gralphabet. The Gralphabet, she calls it. This is actually what she was written up in one of those Soup for the Soul type books. It's an alphabet of gratitude. So it goes like this. A, I'm grateful for apples because they make me healthy. Or I'm grateful for a good attitude this morning. It can be anything. I'm grateful for April, my friend. And then you go to B. I'm particularly grateful for bees because I'm in love with honey. You would know, if you knew me, you would know I'm addicted to honey. I have to have honey in my tea every day. But you get the idea. Then you go to C, D, E, F, G, all the way down to Z. And my sister doesn't start her day without doing an entire alphabet. It's an awesome thing to do. And if you haven't tried it, you should try it. Because you'll be amazed at where your attitude is at the end of the alphabet than the beginning of the alphabet. Gratitude. Number 2 is just believing. Just start there. Just start with faith. Just start with believing that there is something more. Believe in other people. Even when you watch them again and again and again make the same mistakes. There'll be a day that maybe it changes. I spoke at Nancy Kemp's funeral this year, the teacher I referred to that literally changed my life. Without her, I would not be standing here right now, and she didn't know me a week when she changed my life. I spoke at her funeral this year, and when I didn't remember one other person from my high school, not one. Not a student, not a teacher, nobody. I don't remember one person. And I spoke at the funeral, and afterwards I had somebody come up to me and said, I was your guidance counselor. And I was like, oh, good, nice. And I didn't remember. And she said to me, Mrs. Kemp and I prayed for you every day. We were afraid this day was going to be the last day that you would come to school. I don't even remember her name today. That's terrible. I need to find out. But you never know the impact that you're making on people. You just have to believe in people. Why did those people believe in me? I have no idea. I was a train wreck. And for some reason, they saw something that I couldn't see. Just believe. And third, and maybe the most important, is you just have to commit. It's courageous. And it's easy to say, but it's a very hard thing to do. When you commit, you risk. I have a little saying I keep on the edge of my computer. I've had it for probably 20 years. It's all dog-eared and black and everything, but I keep it because it says commitment. Once you have the courage to make it, you're going to be shocked at all the material things that step up and come into your way, all the people that come to you to help you realize the vision. But you've got to commit with your heart and soul. But it's not easy. But it is easy when we do this together. And that's why an organization like you all are involved in and Lana runs here is so important for our state, it's so important for the people that you touch, because it allows you to come together, support one another, encourage one another, have the courage then to make commitments, do it together. So I want to applaud you for the work that you do individually, the work that you do collectively in your local communities and across our state, because you're making a difference. And one day, you're touching, you've probably touched many of them, somebody who's going to stand up in front of 150 people who you thought would never